Right then guys, how's it going and welcome to your FA Cup final predictions. So, the Premier League officially ended. Those were my predictions from the final weekend up there, and as always, I didn't get any correct scores. I got 3 correct outcomes. I was right that Liverpool would beat Wolves. I went 2-1. It was actually 2-0. I said that Man City would beat Brighton. It was actually 4-1. Man City. Spurs, Everton. Now, I did actually say I could see a draw on the cards there, but I did back Spurs and it was 2-2. And then what a turnout for Newcastle in their final game, beating Fulham 4-0. I hoped we might win, but 4-0 was very nice to see. So, as always, loads of you guys got involved for the final week of the Premier League, but 3 people got 2 correct scores. They were Team Who, Ian FC and Simon. So big up to these 3. I've put all of their YouTube links down in the description and I've subscribed to them, so make sure you guys go and check them out. And if you want to be shouted out in the next predictions video, which will probably be for the Europa League, Champions League finals, then make sure to get your prediction for the FA Cup final down below, but as always we'll run through it now. Before we get into the FA Cup final, I want to give a quick mention to the 2 charity football matches I've got coming up over the next couple of weeks, and they are both to raise money for the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation. So the first one is this Sunday. It's against the Original Africans. It's 1 PM and it's at the Great Park Community Centre. So I'm playing for Newcastle Fans TV. This one, this weekend, I think is a bit of a warm-up because in a few weeks' time we are also playing against the Middlesbrough Fan TV channel. So that should be pretty interesting. But yeah, the details are there for you. I'll put them down in the description if you want to come along and enjoy the high calibre of football that I'm sure will be on display, then please feel free. And I'm hoping to have more information on the game against the Middlesbrough Fan channel out very soon. And I'll also put the link if you guys wanted to donate to the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation as well. Alright, let's get on with the FA Cup final. So, the Premier League is officially over. We've obviously got a few more games to go with the Cup finals, which I'm hoping are going to be pretty good. English teams waving the flag in the Europa and the Champions League. But before that, we have the FA Cup final between Manchester City and Watford. So, Man City, we've seen them win the league by 1 point. I mean, you've got to give some credit to Liverpool. I know they've still got the Champions League final to look forward to, but for Liverpool to end on 97 points and not win the league must be pretty tough to take. But you know what it is, Man City got that extra point to win the league that they needed, and it was deserved because across the entire season they were 1 point better off, and that's all it takes to take home the trophy. Man City's route to the FA Cup final was beating Rotherham, Burnley, Newport County, Swansea and Brighton, and now to take on Watford. I mean, you've got to say Man City were the favourite in every... I mean, they're going to be... I mean, they're the favourite in most Premier League games. What I was going to say was they were the favourite in all of their games running up to the final, and you've really got to... Anything can happen in an FA Cup final, but you've really got to put Man City as the favourite in this game. As for their captain, Vincent Kompany, who scored that amazing goal against Leicester to get the 3 points against them, his future is still unknown. And I think from what I've read, they're basically going to get the FA Cup final done with before they then potentially discuss what is going to happen, if he is going to leave the club or if he is going to stay on. But you know, he's going to want to lift another trophy if he is to leave after the FA Cup final. And I also saw he was desperate to get back into training today, Wednesday, so he could tell the lads to go again. So Man City are going to be pumped. They're going to be on a high from winning the league, but I honestly think this could be a really close game because Watford are going to want this as well. So as for Watford, their route into the FA Cup final, they beat Woking, they also beat Newcastle, they beat QPR, they beat Crystal Palace, and they beat Wolves. So they had some pretty tricky games there. especially the Wolves one, and then obviously what happened in the Premier League, where Wolves are currently sat in 7th place. Watford didn't have the greatest end to the Premier League season, dropping down to 11th. Actually lost their last 3 Premier League games, including a 4-1 loss against West Ham. So in terms of build up to the FA Cup final, I'm sure Watford would have liked to have kind of stayed on a high rather than kind of losing their last few games. But you know, heading to Wembley, they're gonna be pumped for it. And if winning the FA Cup wasn't already enough for Watford, if they do win the FA Cup, they also get Europa League football. As I've mentioned a few times in my prediction videos, Wolves are currently sitting in 7th place in the Premier League. So if Man City beat Watford, then Wolves get the Europa spot. But if Watford beat Man City, then Watford win the FA Cup and get Europa League football. I think they'd probably rather the Cup than the Europa League football, but it's definitely an added extra that they will be certainly up for. So in theory, if you're a Wolves fan, you'll definitely be sporting Man City this weekend. But again, it's on Saturday, it's at 5 o'clock, it's on the telly for everyone to see, and I'm hoping for a good game. I'd like to see Watford potentially get an early goal, because I do think Man City, all eyes are on Man City, realistically. The pressure is on Man City. They're the favourite team to go in and win it, and Watford could definitely cause them some problems. So I do think if Man City were to get the early goal, it's likely they may get another. We're kind of seeing it in Man City's final game against Brighton. You know, Brighton got the goal, which then made Man City actually have to wake up and then score a quick goal, and then once they got 1, then they got 2, then they got 3. So I think it could be similar in this game. If Man City were to get 1, it's going to be tough for Watford to really attack to try and get a goal without Man City slipping through and grabbing themselves a goal. As for a prediction, as a neutral, I'd love it to see it go extra time and penalties and as exciting as possible. But it's so tough to look past Man City because they are really that good. But as I say, on the day, Watford could do it. And I think that will probably make for a more entertaining game as well, if Watford were to really push for it. And I'm sure they're going to. But 2-1 Man City. Because I'm only doing 1 game, I know I normally do 4 games in my predictions, and because it's just the 1, I'm going to ask you guys to get in your goal scorers as well, or if you think it will go to extra time, or if you think it will go to penalties. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to go 2-1 Man City. I'm going to go for Aguero double, and I'm going to say Troy Deeney's going to grab himself a goal as well. So that is it, guys. That is my prediction for the weekend. I may as well stick it up there, as I normally do. It normally makes more sense when there's some more games, but there you go. So get your prediction down below for the FA Cup final. I'm looking forward to that one. And then, as I say, week following, Europa League. No, it's not. It's 2 weeks away. Still got a little while. Sorry. Europa League and Champions League final to come not too long away. Alright, thank you all for watching. As always, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you later.